I'm Scott L. Miller. It is the 12th of December, 2021. This is the Sheep Guarding Llama vlog and coming to you again from Laguna de Apoyo in Nicaragua. This is Sunday and we have been here. We got here Friday night. Did very little Friday night. Got here pretty late. Pretty much just came and went to bed. And then yesterday on Saturday, we spent the whole day filming and doing show activities here in town. This morning I'm actually recording this on Sunday morning. It is only 6:45 in the morning, but I got up at 5:20 so that I could come out and film the sunrise over the lake. This is a crater lake. It is amazing, and this morning was so much better than yesterday. So even though I only got maybe 2 hours of sleep, I am very, very happy that I took the time to come down. I did get the GoPro set up, and according to its little red blinky light, it is still recording this, which looks amazing. So I'm hoping that we've got a great time lapse of that. I'm shooting it right from the main steps of the hostel. There's nobody here. There's just me and one guy who's setting up for the morning. So I have this all to myself. It's incredible. And right now I decided to do this morning's update, partially because it looks like this and partially because I am just running down my battery so I can go plug in my phone and get going with the day. We've got to load up the car pretty soon. It is, like I said, it's 6:45 and we have to be out by 10. So we have 3 hours. I got to get everything charged, get the cameras ready, and then we'll be on the road and do a little bit more of filming around Apoyo. And then I think the plan is going to be to do a drive warp episode driving back to Las Penitas. We do have work that needs to be done. It's not like we have any easy ability to set up the laptop and do anything here. I don't have a desk, and there's a lot of filming going on. So I need to get back and get on the computer to get things done. So staying super late today while possible, probably not the best idea because we will give up a drive warp episode in order to do so. And the drive back should be really cool with footage from Apoyo, the Pueblos Blancos, Jinotega de Diambra, El Crucero, which I really want to hit at a good time of day because it is one of my favorite parts of Nicaragua. Of course, I don't know how much is going to be visible on the drive. That might be like, oh, well, it's just more road. El Crucero's up, it's like a high mountain ridge, not high mountain, but it's for Nicaragua. It's a pretty high ridge that you drive along and it gets a volcanic ash across it. So nothing grows, just like scrub grass, but no major plants, no trees, you can't farm up there, but it has views of the volcano, like over the ones over here where I'm standing near Granada and Masaya, really has views of Masaya. And then it's got views all the way over to the Pacific, and you can actually see the water, but the weather up there feels like kind of a warmish day in Ireland. It's an amazing mix of things, and I'm hoping to go through there. So I'm just waiting for the GoPro to be done, running down the battery, and enjoying this gorgeous morning. I can only imagine that it's in the high 70s. It's super comfortable out here. I'm in a button-down shirt. I'm in heavy shorts, and if anything, I'm chilly, not too warm. It will warm up by the middle of the day. You know, it'll still get warm, but this is really, really nice. We love this location. We really like the hostel. You can see where everybody stays here. It's a small community at the lagoon, so there's some private houses. There's lots of these little hostels and stuff. There's some neat little communities, like over where Casa Marimba is behind me, that almost feels like you're in Greece somewhere, walking between the stone buildings, and everything's built right on top of each other because they're trying to be on the water. And if you drive around enough, you'll find like mansions on the water, in some places, which some of them are pretty impressive. There's definitely some investment going on up here of just private houses, people who want to have an alternative to the ocean life. And it is nice that being in a place like this, you don't tend to be focused on the beach, although you can certainly, as I'm standing on one that's all sand, and you can go down and go swimming, and people swim here constantly, right? It's beautiful for swimming because it's safe. There's no currents, but it is really deep. I've heard, this seems crazy, but it's 200 meters deep. But when you think about it, it's a crater, and the slant that I'm standing on, if that keeps going, that's 200 meters for sure. So that makes sense. But it's a great place if you were going to invest and you wanted to have a house where you have the water, you have views, you're not too far from some major stuff like Granada, Masaya, and Managua are all really close. You could, we went to Granada last night for dinner, and it was just, hey, let's run over to Granada. It's like maybe 30 minutes. And when we got up on the ridge, and you'll see some footage on some of my other channels, we got up on the ridge at Catarina behind me, looked straight across the lake. You can see the other side of the crater, Then you can see the isthmus that is where Granada is, sitting between this lake and Lake Nicaragua, and then you can see Lake Nicaragua all from that. It's incredible. Such cool views. Absolutely loved it. But that's how close you are to things. But this community is silent. You come here at 10 o'clock at night, there is no noise whatsoever. It is pitch silent. I don't know if that's a thing. Completely silent. There's nothing. So very, very fun. I'm going to cut off the video now. I'm going to go start charging things. Wow, the sun I get it. Check this out. Boom. There we are. Wow. Woo. That's crazy gorgeous. Suddenly so much sun and all these bright colors. This is Nicaragua. All right. I will finish this up later. I have lots more, I'm sure, to tell you about the day. Let's do this. Our day continued as we hung out in Apoyo, and I'm losing my camera here. It has no idea where my face is. It gets randomly confused by there we go. And our day continued around Apoyo. We started the morning. I just had to charge all my devices, as I mentioned earlier, so I had to go plug everything in, so that gave us several hours. But we wanted to have breakfast, and I was recording before breakfast opened at 7. So at 7, we ordered breakfast. Dominic and I again got the Eggs Benedict with salmon, which is quite good. However, after yesterday and getting basically untoasted English muffins, maybe completely untoasted, today we asked for them very, very toasted, and they came cold. Not sure how they're messing up toasting an English muffin, but apparently it's not a thing that you do in Nicaragua, and so the idea of toasting it is a bit confusing, and they have no idea that they're supposed to be doing that. So they're fresh, and so they're good. Everybody's looking at me. The truck's like, what is he doing? Quality of the bread was good, so they were completely edible, but they were cold and is the wrong consistency. So it was quite a bit weird for that. But other than that, everything was really good. It was quite tasty. We had a very enjoyable breakfast. So that was our day. We spent several hours at the hotel working on plans for the day, because we all had different ideas of what we wanted to do and trying to figure out from the shooting that we did yesterday what would make sense to do today. Originally, we had thought maybe we would spend a lot of time in the Pueblos Blancos, but it was really apparent we needed to get a lot more footage of Apoyo, and it takes a lot more time to shoot than it feels like. And so I really wanted to stay in Apoyo. However, Laguna de Apoyo is very difficult for filming simply because it's very hard to get from place to place. Everything is just different beaches on the same water. And so if you have lots of time, you can move around, you can get cool sunrises, sunsets. It's beautiful to stay in, but from a filming perspective, it's actually rather challenging to get anything more than just the shots that you've seen on here. I got some great time lapses, but everything's deep in the woods and along a volcanic crater. And so you're really limited as to what you're able to film. So that made for a really big challenge. So we decided we were going to drive around, try to go to some of the other resorts today. As we were leaving, after everything was charged up, so I forgot. So our morning was then to do some things at the hotel. The thing that Dominica wanted to do was go kayaking. I was against this idea, partially because I have no interest in going kayaking. And more so, I had no idea what we would film. Like the physical challenge of filming kayaking is pretty high. So, especially with the gear that we have. I have no camera that can get anywhere from the shore. I've only got the GoPro that can go in the kayak. We don't have the floaty stick that goes with it. We do have a float, so we're not going to lose it, but it's like the maneuvering it is difficult. We just weren't prepared, and none of us are kayakers. So this was going to be tough, but she really wanted to do it. So we got changed, we packed up the car. This ended up taking hours because of just no one communicating well, even though we were all sitting at breakfast together. So we got out and went kayaking, and of the kayaks, Saeed and I got these little baby ones. I can only imagine, weighed too much for the kayak. I weighed way too much for the kayak. The thing was itty bitty. It was basically underwater the whole time, and had nowhere near the buoyancy necessary to keep me above the water once I went out on the lake. And the lake had quite a bit of wind. This is important. Laguna de Apoyo does get pretty serious waves. I mean, not like ocean waves. I'm not being ridiculous here. Just way more waves than you would expect in a little lake, and it does throw you around quite a bit if the wind picks up. So that was a bit of a problem. Dominica got a large ocean kayak instead of one of these little pond kayaks, and so she didn't have too much of a problem. She was out and just started kayaking around. It's like, oh great, off she goes. I go out. I couldn't even row the oars. First of all, I didn't fit in the kayak, so I was like doing everything. I spent all my energy just trying to brace myself and keep from falling out, and then it wasn't able to do anything, right? It would, every time a wave came, I spent all my time just keeping from flipping. So that didn't work very well. I couldn't even get the GoPro out of my pocket, let alone like do something with it. So I wasn't going to be able to film. So I rode as far as I could, gave the GoPro to Dominica, and went back. Once I realized that I was dramatically over the weight limit of the kayak, I'm like, no, this is a bad idea. I'm going to flip in the middle of the lake and not be able to get back into the kayak, and it's just going to be a mess. And we're not going to get anything done. It's just going to be me having a hard time getting back from this kayaking adventure. So I go back, turn in the kayak, get rid of my vest, do all that stuff. Come back and discover Saeed yelling for me to go help Dominica because she had beached, lost her oar, stuff had floated away, and she was walking up and down the beach trying to collect her stuff and put everything back together. It's quite a mess. The moment I got to her, she said, okay, I'm saying it right now, you were right, which I don't get very often, so I had to bring it up. But I mean, it was kind of cool. We got a little bit of interesting footage from it, but mostly from land of it going wrong, not of it actually working. But it was a good try, and it used a bit of the morning. We had already packed up the car, so we basically were ready to go. We just threw what we had left into the car, threw down towels on the seats, and while we were doing that, Saeed, can't wait for this loud vehicle to go by. Saeed had been talking to a backpacker who was staying at the same hostel as us, and she had a minor emergency. She had to run down to San Juan del Sur to help a friend of hers, and so was asking if we could take her to the Circle to pick up the bus. We were a little bit concerned because she didn't have great information as to where to get the bus, and we didn't know where to get the bus. Taking her somewhere is no big deal, but there's really no taxis. You can call taxis, but there's none like standing by. But one of the problems in Nicaragua, and this is just a general thing, is that the information you're going to get is different depending on who you talk to about everything, and there's just no consistency. So when somebody told her where to get the bus, they didn't give her enough details. Like, if you're going to tell someone how to do this, by the way, there's a really cute puppy looking at me, so I'm kind of staring at him. Oh, he's a little bit scared, so he's walking away, but he's like, but I kind of want attention, but yeah, he's a very cute dog. Clive chases him sometimes in the mornings. So we didn't know whether there was really a bus for her to get or not. Or we're going to come down. Oh, I run away. Come here. Nope. Okay. We were really worried, right? Because she was going to go to the bus and there was going to be no bus there, or she was never going to get to the spot that they said to go. One piece of the directions or another was going to be wrong. Everybody makes it sound simple. Oh, just go to this place, stand there. The right bus will come by, magically know you're supposed to get on it. You'll magically know it's the right bus. It'll magically take you to the right place, and the next bus will magically be there. None of those things are likely to be true. None of them. It's really bad. There's no bus schedules. There's no bus directory. There's no pictures of this is what the place looks like. There's just loose descriptions from someone who's never taken the bus, who says, well, I heard, and this must be completely reliable because I heard it, that the bus goes to such and such a circle. So they said the circle at Catarina. Okay, we'll take her to Catarina, but we're going to go do some filming first. So hang out at the hotel. We'll come back and get you. She's like, great. So we do that. We went to La Abuela, and then we discovered it was going to be really expensive to go into any of these resorts that we weren't staying at to be able to do some filming. And we didn't really know what we would film. We were just going to kind of get some additional footage of different places. And we're like, this isn't a bad idea. We're going to spend lots of money, lots of time, and it's not going to work out well. We do know some miradors. Let's go there and do some filming instead. And it's on the way back. So we immediately went out, headed back, and picked her up right away. She's like, wait, you're back? We're like, get in the car. We're going on an adventure. And she's like, yeah. So she got in the car and off we went. We went to Catarina, tried to find the bus, saw what we thought was the bus go by, and it didn't seem to stop. And then we're like, well, we've got an hour before it comes back again. So went to several things in Catarina. Went to on the way there, we went to the Mirador at La Cueva del Tigre. We didn't actually go to the Catarina Mirador, but we saw where it was. Went around Catarina a little bit and did some filming. Tried to find a bakery, but couldn't. Everybody thought we were crazy for wanting a bakery. Weird. Then discovered when we went to the circle that the bus does not stop there, and that is not how you get the bus. So had she taken the taxi, she would have been stuck at a bus stop that doesn't go where she needs to go, and the bus doesn't stop there, with no other directions, right? This is a huge gap in the stuff. So we started chasing buses down the road, trying to figure out where they were going, asked some locals, got, of course, lots of different answers, but eventually got directed on to Didia, which is another town, just a couple towns away, not very far. But if you don't have a car, I have no idea how you're supposed to get there because there's no buses, right? Or maybe there is, but nobody knows where it is and where it comes from. It's hard to say how much of a problem this is. If you're here in this village, it's easy. We have 3 buses that come. They come about every hour, and they all go to the same place in Leon, and that's it. There's no other bus service, so that's pretty basic. If you're in a place that isn't a terminal like here, and it actually is a station on the way between someplace and another, you're screwed. And I can get to Leon from here, but that's about it. There's no way to then go anywhere from there because it doesn't drop you off at a bus station with other buses that go somewhere. I could get to Leon, but I got to get a taxi around Leon at that point because there's no other buses. It's an absurd situation in many cases. There's just not the necessary organization to put all the pieces together to actually make it work. So we drove to Didia, found something that looked like a bus station, went around, found out that was not where the bus went to the place that all the people said from there was the bus station, and pretty quickly discovered that was not where the bus went, but they kept directing us closer and closer to where it is, and eventually we found a bus station after having stopped in several villages, gone to several things that were supposed to be a bus station. It was a mess, just a completely crazy situation. Got to the place. They're like, yeah, we're waiting for the same bus. We're like, oh, thank goodness. Waited there, bought some muffins and some drinks while we were waiting, and almost immediately the bus showed up. So the timing was perfect that she maybe had missed one bus earlier, which was not a big deal. She didn't have to take that bus. So it was actually pretty efficient we didn't miss any buses, and we were sitting there because we were going to wait because she was going to be stuck. That's the thing. Everybody wants to just drop you off and be like, you'll be fine. And then no bus will ever come. And then what do you do, right? Then you don't have a taxi. You're out money. And she didn't have a working phone. She had let her SIM card expire and was doing this adventure without having renewed it yet. Major problem. I swear the traffic is really high here this time of day for some reason. So luckily the bus showed up right as we were there. We were able to put her on the bus, toss her a muffin, and off she went. We did keep up with her throughout her adventures of the day and found out that the bus did take her correctly to Rivas, where she was trying to go to catch the bus to San Juan del Sur. However, there was no bus to San Juan del Sur, which is, where else would they come from? The bus only goes San Juan del Sur to Rivas. So something was seriously wrong that bus didn't show up. But what do you do? And who do you ask? And who knows, right? If it doesn't show up, nobody knows. If you're wondering why the footage is so jerky, I'm in sandals on an insanely uneven rocky road, so every step I'm nearly falling over. So she did eventually make it to San Juan del Sur, which is how we knew any of this happened, because she couldn't tell us until she got there and got Wi-Fi because she had no internet on her phone. Quite the situation. So I'm thinking we were meant to be there to save her this morning, or she would have been in pretty rough shape. She wouldn't have died or anything, but it would have been an awful time getting to San Juan del Sur, given where she was starting from in the situation. Okay, for us, from there, we did a little bit more driving around the Pueblos Blancos. We checked out we were in Didia, where we had dropped her off, and while we were there, we're like, this is a gorgeous town. So we drove around, discovered a new mirador there that was fantastic, discovered a baseball game going on, some beautiful houses. So we drove around a number of the towns and did a little bit, hola! And did a bunch of, we're going to get them on video. Hola! Oh, it lost me. And it cannot find me for anything. There we go. It was really nice. We hit up the Pueblos Blancos there and kept exploring, trying to find some candy because that's one of the things they make there. Looking at different little village squares and stuff. It was pretty cool. It was a nice trip, but pretty early we had two concerns. One is we wanted to get back in daylight and be able to film a bit of the drive, and the other was that we wanted to. What am I trying to say? We wanted to deal with the car because the car was starting to have issues as far as the drivetrain. Like we were getting consistent problems that the car would stutter and stall, and we're pretty sure throughout the day that it's the oil pump or the oil filter. My guess is the filter from the way it was behaving, but we were worried about being able to make it back. So that was a real problem. So we wrapped up pretty early, got on the road and started driving back. Came back through El Crucero. We did manage to film, I think, enough to get a Drive Warp episode, which is nice. And we stopped at the Hotel Capri in El Crucero, which I have been seeing since March when we drive past it and really wanted to stop at and check out. So that we were able to do that on this trip was great. We stopped, Saeed took the car apart and tried to figure out the oil filter. I don't know what he was going to do, but he was not able to do it. But we ate at this hotel. Both Dominic and I are like, this reminds us of a rural place in Romania. It reminds us of the hotel we used to go to in Reagan, or the little, like, on the highway pensions that we used to go to. It was very reminiscent of that stuff. So it was really cool. We had a good meal. Saeed got this fajita thing that looked fantastic if you eat meat. And it was really nice. I'm really glad that we got to go there. It was interesting because it's a completely different cultural region of Nicaragua. So being there it was very different. It didn't feel like you were here at all. The weather is very cool, meaning like it's cold, it's very windy. It kind of gives you an Irish feeling experience a little bit. The views are fantastic. The buildings are different. The people coming out, it just felt like you're in a different place. And it's not very far away. So it's neat that stuff exists. And nice to know that we can go places like that and get a completely different experience within the country. So that was cool. And we almost didn't get the car started again when we left there, but we did. We got on the road and drove back, and that was pretty much our day. That was our adventure. There wasn't a lot more to do, so it was actually a very long day. We had a lot going on, hence the very long recording, but it was a lot of driving and exploring little towns. We did a bit of filming. I'm hoping we have enough to start piecing together a first episode. That's a big deal. That's what we were trying to get out, and got home, hung out with the kids. All the news on the puppy is that he is doing well. We should see him tomorrow in theory. Dr. Jorge still has him, and our dogs were crazy happy to see us. I have lots of work to try to get to, but very hard because everybody wants to hang out and talk to me and stuff. So not a super productive evening, and I had to start transferring videos because every camera is just loaded up with videos and pictures. Trying to upload to Flickr and everything kept me pretty busy. That was our Sunday. I'm going to see everybody tomorrow.